Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to use a device that it only works in certain cases. We got to make sure that you know you can only use this when you're doing the metric conversions. It does not work if you're using things like gallons or miles or inches or feet or something like that. It has to be something with a metric prefix. Now what you see in this is similar to the stair-step method that many of you have learned before. You look down this, and I included some of these metric prefixes that we may or may not recognize, but they're the ones we'll run into more often. Notice there's some gaps where I didn't put names just because they're things we don't use all that frequently. And the way this works is just kind of a device to help make sure you move the decimal the right direction. It does not, it's no substitute for understanding what's bigger or smaller, but it's something to kind of help reset you if you kind of get mixed up a little bit. So, for example, here's our base units. These are like meters, liters, and grams, okay, seconds, and any of those base metric units that sort of set the stage for all the conversions you're working with. Here's kilo, mega, which is a capital M. Down here we've got deci, centi, milli. We're more familiar with those. This is micro, which is 3 steps away from milli, which means 1,000 times smaller. And then 3 more steps and we get to nano, which is 1,000 times smaller than micro. And then angstrom, that little A, that's basically 10 steps away from the base unit. So it's very, very tiny unit. Now, what I want to do is show you how this works mechanically. So you can use it if you kind of get turned around and you move your decimal and you're not sure if you did it correctly. This will sort of give you a way to check that. So let's take a look at some examples. Here we have 0.341 kilograms, and we're going to change it to grams. Okay. Now, I'm hoping that eventually you get to the point where you just kind of do this in your head. Okay, but early on you may need something to check yourself with, and that's what this is for. So 0.341 kilograms. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this, and it tells me where and how far to move my decimal. Okay, so I'm going to start with kilograms, and I want to end up with grams. All right, so I start with kilo, and I want to end up with grams, which is a base unit. So I'm going to have to move my decimal 1, 2, 3 spots to the right. That's what the arrows on the Z chart are for. So I move this 1, 2, 3 spots to the right, and that's 341 grams. Okay? It's a pretty simple tool. All you have to do is find the correct starting and ending points. In this case, I've got 82.7 micrometers. Okay? Micro is this one way down here. It's got a little Greek letter called mu. And I'm going to try and turn that into centimeters, which is up here. So I need to move my decimal 1, 2, 3, 4 spots, and I'm going up the Z, so it means I'm going to be moving my decimal to the left. 4 spots to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when you get to a place where you move it and there's nothing there, we just put a 0 as a placeholder, and we get 0.00827. Take a look at the last one here because it's a bigger change. We got 6.9 kiloliters, and we're going to turn it into milliliters. Kilos up here, millis down here. I'm starting with kilo. That's what I have 6.9 of. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a lot of zeros that are going to go in here. Okay. So basically I have 6, 9, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. 6,900,000 milliliters. Now that's a big enough number. We're going to probably want to write that in scientific notation. So if you take a look at some of the other videos I have and some of the other examples we do in class, this would be the same as 6.9 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's 10 to the positive 6 because that is a big number. 6,900,000 is a big number. Okay, and that tells us we have a positive exponent. Both of these mean the same thing. It's just this one we don't have to keep track of all those zeros and maybe make a mistake in how many of those we write. Okay, now like I said, this is a mechanical tool for kind of checking your results and making sure you're on the right track. It does not substitute for being able to look at something and say, hey, a kilogram is bigger than a gram, and understanding which one of these is a much larger size unit than the other.